Hi guys, Football Manager, youthdevelopment.co.uk here. In this episode, I'd just like to speak to you about how to pick a club captain. So, obviously, you know the captain of a football team is someone that all the players are going to be looking up to. It's someone that you need kind of real good leadership from. If we take someone, I don't know, like a Steven Gerrard, obviously he's been Liverpool's captain for years and years, and you know what type of player you've got with Steven Gerrard. So you've got someone who's always looking to drive the team forward. The players will respect Steven Gerrard, things like that. So a lot of people who play Football Manager, they look for maybe just like the leadership of the player. But I just wanted to use this video to just show you guys some other things just to look out for, basically. So what I'm gonna do, obviously, if you click on the tactics screen and then go to captains, this is obviously where you can select your captain for Football Manager 2015. So obviously leadership is a very, very good attribute to have as a captain, but it's certainly not the kind of only thing to be looking out for. So I'd just like to highlight some other kind of key areas and key things to just have a look at. So if we take this guy just here, for example, so what I'd be looking for in a captain, obviously, we need to have the good leadership. So this guy's got 15 leadership, which is absolutely brilliant. And obviously, the higher the leadership attribute, the better it is really for your team. I'd also be looking out for the determination attribute. Now, this determination attribute, it's kind of if your team's losing 1-0, it's like how determined is the player to kind of work really hard and to pull it back, and how determined are they to win, things like that. So having as well like high determination is a really, really kind of key attribute that you need to be looking out for in your captains. So in terms of kind of other attributes, they're really the only two ones that I'd look at. So the determination and the leadership. Now, obviously, being a captain, you really need to kind of think about stuff. A lot of being a captain is kind of personality and things like that. So what you can do is have a look in the information screen. So obviously with personalities, what you want to be having a look at here is if they've got a really good personality. So this guy here, he's got a fairly professional personality, which is really, really good. So what you want to be looking for here is personalities like born leader, which I believe John Terry is at the start of Football Manager 2015. You've got fairly professional, professional spirited, model professional, resolute, sort of, these type of personalities are going to be really, really good, and the type of captain or type of players that you really, really just want to be kind of like leading your team. And if you're kind of like going into a battle, really, you don't want someone who's a little bit jovial, or just a bit temperate, someone who's just not really kind of too asked about playing football and things like that. You've only really got to just think about captains in real life, kind of what personalities like real good captains have. So yeah, that's certainly something to have a look at on Football Manager. Now, another kind of good thing to have a look at is the media handling style. So if someone's quite volatile, so you've obviously got captains in the past, maybe someone like a Roy Keane type of figure, obviously a very, very volatile kind of figure. Now, he's someone that as a manager you would be kind of a little bit worried about the type of things that they'd say. So obviously with Football Manager you do the press and the media is kind of a little bit more of an involvement now into that type of thing. And just recently in this team, what I've actually had is a couple of players that have basically been moaning about where I am in the league. So I have had this guy here, Ryan Tunnicliffe. He's been moaning like anything. So yeah, he's unhappy with his training. He basically walked away from training, so I fined him for a couple of weeks. We're fifth in the league, I think we are, and yeah, he thinks we're underachieving. He's just causing all sorts of trouble. So what I basically did, I got one of my other guys who can be a captain. It was this guy here. So this guy's got really, really good leadership. He's got level-headed kind of media thing. I'll show you some other kind of things in a minute. But so basically what I needed to do, you can go to interaction and then ambassadorial duties. And what was on there before, so I got him to basically speak to Ryan. just to kind of like help. Now, basically, if you've got someone who's a little bit volatile, sometimes players do need a little bit of a kick up the arse. Like a Roy Keane type of personality, or you might have like I'm going to keep using Steven Gerrard because he's a fantastic captain. Someone who's just going to kind of speak to you, kind of listen to you basically, and things like that. So you do need to be thinking about this media handling style, because that will be linked possibly and probably to how they're going to be speaking to the players. And I would have thought if you got someone who's kind of like a bit of a hothead, a bit volatile, a bit aggressive, things like that, then if you're asking them to speak to players that are not that happy, then personally I don't think it's going to probably go as well as you'd kind of be hoping for it to go. What I'm going to just do, I'm just going to go back to where was I? Yeah, Reddit Johnson. So basically in the last game, he was captain in the team. Basically, he was like the kind of most obvious choice to captain my team. So really, really good things that you want to see here. So delighted he got to captain the team in the last match. Now, that's exactly the type of things that you want him to be reading as a manager. You want to be, having a look who's actually happy to take that role. If it come up as like a negative, he wasn't, kind of too sort of happy, if you like, with, basically being given that responsibility. It might show up here as like a negative, but because it's a positive, we'd be more than happy to, kind of give him that role in future. And that's something that you really, really do need to like kind of focus on when you're picking a captain. So it's all well and good kind of giving someone the responsibility, but even like looking at your kind of your coach reports and things like that. So like we're looking for things like this. We're looking for someone who's a fairly consistent performer. Obviously when picking a captain, you want someone who is going to be playing a lot of the time. It's absolutely pointless someone having like really, really good leadership, but they're absolute crap and they're just not going to be playing in your first team at all. So you need to be picking someone who's like really, really consistent, someone who's going to be in your team a lot, because you need them to be like a mainstay of your team. Now, other real good things to have a look in here. So obviously in the dressing room now, in Football Manager, it's real kind of like big part now. Obviously, as you know, when you we're actually assessed on this now in Football Manager. So squad harmony, it's actually one of the things that we're kind of assessed on here. Now, if you've got loads of players that are just like causing like loads of trouble, things like that, you just don't want them in your team. And these are the type of things, like if these start to go wrong on Football Manager, it's just going to really, really go Pete Tong for you, like proper quick. Obviously that's not what you want. So you just need to make sure that you're kind of, making sure the squad harmony is like really, really good and things like that. And, having your captain, like I mentioned earlier, I got that guy to speak to that other guy. It did help this situation a little bit. But if it kind of like really, really did kick off, now what I could do, so if I go back to that other player that I had, where's it gone? Yeah, so if I go back to Tay, and then go interaction. Now, what I could do is get Tay to like kind of speak to all the team basically, and just get him to like kind of buck all the team's ideas up. Now, if the kind of relationship that you've got with some of the players is going really, really wrong, what you do need is like a real strong leader who's actually on your side, and someone that's kind of going to have your back, so to speak. So if you start losing the like the trust of your captain and things like that, then you're really, really, up against it, because you need your captain to, possibly have a word with the whole team, just sort of see if he can kind of like turn things around. Now, what you'll notice here as well, so having a look through this, you may see that clicking through my team, a lot of the team think that Hall Johnson is a really, really good play. So you can see like right through the team here, a lot of players kind of rating this guy. Now, because a lot of the other players are kind of rating him, they'll be kind of respecting him. Now, this guy here, so potentially in the future, now this guy's only 22 years old, but if he's at our club for a little while, and he starts to kind of get the respect to the players, now you may see this leadership value or attribute kind of increase over time. And when like say when kind of Phil Jones joins Man United, for example, a lot of people were sort of saying that he could potentially be the captain of Man United in the future, and a lot of people kind of marked out Wayne Rooney when he was a little bit young to be like a future captain. Now, when you're kind of managing a team, these are the type of other things you need to be thinking about as well. So I'm really having a look at this guy's kind of attributes here. Now, his determination's 16, so having a look here, he's got spirited personality, which is absolutely brilliant. He's unflappable when the media kind of like question him, things like that. Now, what you'll see eventually, if this player's been at your club for a little while, you'll see the favoured personnel. You know, loads of players will start kind of like liking each other in your team. Now, if you notice that a lot of people are liking Reece Hall-Johnson in their favoured personnel, then that's a real good thing, and it's going to help your squad's kind of like harmony, basically, and that's the type of thing that you want to be kind of like working towards and kind of like aiming at. So maybe in like 3 years, if I've still got this guy on my team and his leadership does go up to say 13, 14, he'd be a real kind of like prime target sort of candidate, basically, to be a captain of the team. So you can see here that he's playing quite a lot of games for me. Got quite a decent average rating at the moment. So as well, I'm just having a look at his kind of coaching attributes. So we can see here, I mean, I'm currently playing in like League One at the moment, but so I'm just having a look at kind of other things. So yeah, we have a determined squad, and Hall-Johnson adds to the determined nature. That's obviously very, very good. That's kind of the only real kind of things that we're picking up on here. But yeah, we can see things like this are not too good. So he doesn't enjoy playing in the big matches. So maybe he's a guy that doesn't actually like pressure. So, you know, if we did give him that captain's armband, maybe it might actually kind of affect his game, because he doesn't like, you know, maybe he doesn't like too much stress being placed upon him, basically. So if for example in the pros thing it said that he relishes playing in big matches, then we know that he likes having the pressure. Now, the thing with Football Manager, you can have a look at, you know, all these attributes, and things like determination and leadership are all good, but you really do need to be having a look at the coaching reports, things like that, because, you know, the last thing you want to do is give a player that's actually playing quite well in your team, you know, all of his attributes, well, some of his attributes are kind of improving. You know, he's really kind of doing well for us at the moment. 22-year-old, sort of real young player, and you just want him to kind of perform and do really well on the pitch. Now, if you give him like the captain's armband, potentially he might just kind of like crack under the pressure, and, you know, you might see his like average rating go down, and things like that, just simply because, you know, he doesn't enjoy playing in the big matches. So that's certainly something you need to think about. I'm gonna like wrap this episode up here, guys, but I think you kind of get the general gist. Like, basically, with picking your captain, it's not just all about the leadership. You really do need to have a look at loads of other things. So yeah, obviously do look at the determination. That's all well and good. Just certainly do have a look through like all the information. Like, you want to be looking at all the positives. Make sure you're having a look at the coaching reports. Things like that, and then you'll really start to kind of see the benefits, and you know, just make sure that you are using your captain as much as possible. You know, we do in Football Manager now have the ability to, you know, kind of get our team captains get more involved in the squad, you know, kind of like speaking to players, you know, helping us out, basically, because, you know, sometimes the relationship that we might have with some players, like Ryan Tunnicliffe, like, I can't actually speak to him now, I don't think. I can't speak to him at all now, so the only way that I could have spoke to him was through the captain, and, you know, the captain needs to be there to like speak to these players, just being a pain in the arse, basically. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys, and you kind of learn a little bit more about this topic. You know, it's actually kind of a lot more in depth, basically, than just picking someone who's got the, you know, highest leadership. There's a lot more to kind of like think about, I hope it's kind of like giving you some things to think about when you're playing Football Manager. Thanks for listening.